All right, so today we're diving into a book that you sent my way.
Oh, yeah.
Unreasonable Hospitality.
Uh-huh.
The Remarkable Power of Giving People More Than They Expect by Will Guidara,
Big title.
a giant in the hospitality world. A link to the full book can be found in the description or pinned comment.
Absolutely.
And honestly, it's a goldmine of insight. And get this, it's not just for restaurants.
Right.
This book is packed with wisdom on how to elevate any business by making people feel truly valued.
Yeah, I think that's what's so great about this book is that he obviously comes from the restaurant world and he was a restaurateur for many years.
Yeah.
But these ideas can apply to anything.
Exactly.
Any job, anything you do in life.
Absolutely.
And his story is really inspiring too. He started at Baskin-Robbins as a kid.
Oh, wow.
And worked his way, all the way up to running 11 Madison Park, which became like a 4-star, world-renowned establishment.
It's quite the journey from scooping ice cream to orchestrating these incredible dining experiences.
Yeah.
So right off the bat, Guidara throws down this idea of unreasonable hospitality.
Yeah.
So what exactly does that mean? And how is it different from just regular, being nice hospitality?
Well, I think it's important to think about or to realize the difference between service and hospitality. And I think Guidara explains that really well in the book. Service is simply meeting expectations, getting the right order to the right customer.
Right.
Hospitality is exceeding those expectations and creating a genuine human connection.
Okay.
And he has this great quote in the book. He says, "Service is black and white, hospitality is color."
Oh, I love that.
Yeah.
Service, black and white hospitality is color.
Yeah, you're not just going through the motions. You're adding like vibrance and depth to the experience.
It paints a picture, right?
Yeah.
So, but how does this unreasonable part come in?
Well, it's about going above and beyond what's expected, surprising people with unexpected gestures of kindness and care. He uses this really powerful analogy in the book. He talks about his mother, and his mother was battling an illness, but she would wait for him at the end of the driveway every single day when he got home from school.
Wow.
And he talks about that feeling of being truly welcomed and loved.
Yeah.
That sense of belonging.
It's that feeling we all crave, right?
Yeah.
That feeling of being seen, appreciated.
Totally.
And Guidara argues that we can create that for others through unreasonable hospitality.
Yeah.
Whether it's in our businesses, our workplaces, or even our personal lives.
Absolutely. And he learned a lot about that from his time at the Union Square Hospitality Group.
Okay.
Or USHG. Okay. Under the mentorship of Danny Meyer.
Ah, yes. Danny Meyer.
Author of Setting the Table.
Setting the Table, that's right.
A great book.
And his enlightened hospitality principles.
Yes.
Tell us more about that. How does that philosophy tie into unreasonable hospitality?
Well, Meyer's enlightened hospitality is all about creating a win-win-win situation.
Okay. A win for the guest, a win for the employee, and a win for the business.
Got it.
And it's built on a set of principles that emphasize genuine care, both for the people you serve and the people you work with. One of the key principles he talks about is extending the charitable assumption.
Okay, so what does that mean, extending the charitable assumption? What does that look like in practice?
Well, it means giving people the benefit of the doubt, assuming good intentions even when they're being difficult.
Right.
Instead of reacting defensively or getting frustrated, you try to understand where they might be coming from.
Okay.
And respond with empathy and kindness.
That's a powerful shift in mindset.
Yeah.
And it must have been a game changer for Guidara. He talks about his early days at Tabla, another USHG restaurant, learning from Chef Floyd Cardoz and Randy Baruti.
Yeah.
Who, fun fact, went on to become the CEO of Shake Shack.
That's right.
And he even highlights this difference between being restaurant smart and corporate smart.
Yeah.
So can you explain that a little bit more? Yeah. I mean, restaurant smart is knowing like the ins and outs of running a restaurant, the flow of service, anticipating guests' needs, that hands-on in the trenches knowledge.
Right.
Corporate smart is more about big picture thinking, strategic planning, and financial management.
Okay.
And Guidara really learned to navigate both worlds, and I think recognizing that they complement each other.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
So that brings us to 11 Madison Park, or EMP.
Yeah.
This grand space with so much potential, and Guidara was given this incredible opportunity, but also a huge challenge.
Yeah.
To transform it into a 4-star destination for a new generation.
Right.
So what were some of the key steps he took to achieve that?
Well, he really focused on a few things. One was removing the traditional podium to create a more welcoming entrance.
Interesting.
He wanted to make it more approachable.
Right.
Meticulously training the staff to anticipate guest needs
Mm-hmm.
and instilling that culture of unreasonable hospitality in every aspect of the dining experience.
Yeah.
Really going above and beyond to make people feel special.
Yeah, and they threw this legendary Kentucky Derby party, right?
Oh, yeah.
Which sounds like a perfect example of this going above and beyond, creating these wow moments.
Exactly. It was a perfect example of Guidara's approach. He took something ordinary, a Kentucky Derby viewing party, and transformed it into an unforgettable experience. The details were incredible, offering guests a choice of mint juleps made with different types of bourbon served in beautiful silver cups.
Speaking of details, there's that story about the plates, right?
Oh, yes.
They would place them on the table so that the manufacturer's stamp on the bottom was facing up, showcasing the care taken in setting the table.
Yeah.
Like the attention to detail, even the smallest details.
It's fascinating how Guidara understood that those small details contribute to the overall experience. It's about being intentional and thoughtful at every touch point.
Absolutely. And all of these efforts, big and small, were directed towards one ultimate goal, earning a 4-star review from the New York Times.
The New York Times, that's right.
The Holy Grail.
Absolutely. And then that moment of validation arrived. They got the 4 stars.
They got the 4 stars.
The New York Times gave them 4 stars.
What a triumph. A testament to their hard work and their dedication. But as Guidara explains in the book, reaching the pinnacle of success also presented a new set of challenges.
It's almost like reaching the top of a mountain. You've conquered the climb, but now what?
Yeah, where do you go from there?
Exactly. And for Guidara, it was about pushing even further, setting their sights on an even bigger goal, becoming the #1 restaurant in the world.
Wow.
At that time, the world's 50 best restaurants list was gaining huge influence, and EMP had their sights set on that top spot.
But it wasn't a smooth journey, was it? They actually came in last place on that list in 2010.
Yeah, they did.
Can you imagine the disappointment?
I mean, it must have been a blow, but Guidara and his team really used it as fuel to ignite their determination. They decided to completely revamp their menu, focusing on a hyper-local, New York-centric tasting menu.
So they were sourcing all their ingredients from within the New York region.
That's right.
That sounds incredibly ambitious.
It was incredibly ambitious, and it presented its own set of challenges.
Right.
Sourcing ingredients exclusively from the New York area required incredible resourcefulness and adaptability from the entire kitchen team.
It's like they turned this limitation into an opportunity for innovation.
Absolutely.
They weren't just serving food. They were telling a story about New York through their dishes.
Yeah, and that storytelling extended beyond the food itself.
Okay.
Guidara also decided to eliminate the traditional menu altogether.
Wait, no menu at all?
No menu. He drew inspiration from the legendary Rouse restaurant in East Harlem.
Oh, wow. How did that work?
So at Rouse and eventually at 11 Madison Park, the experience became a personalized conversation between the server and the guest.
Oh, okay.
Instead of presenting a static list of options, the server would engage in a dialogue, understanding the guest's preferences and tailoring the meal accordingly.
That sounds amazing. It takes the concept of personalized service to a whole new level.
It really does.
It's not just about what you eat, it's about the entire experience.
That's right.
The connection, the feeling of being truly cared for.
Exactly. And that focus on personal connection wasn't limited to just the interactions between the servers and the guests.
Okay.
Guidara also really prioritized creating a strong sense of family among the staff.
Yeah.
Encouraging them to share their passions and learn from each other.
He talks about the importance of finding that win-win-win.
Yes.
Where decisions benefit the restaurant, the staff, and the guests.
It's a powerful concept, and it's really at the heart of Unreasonable Hospitality.
Yeah.
And out of this really collaborative, supportive culture came the legends.
The legends?
These were carefully orchestrated gestures designed to go above and beyond for guests, creating those truly memorable wow moments.
For example, there's the story about the guest who mentioned missing a certain kind of street hot dog.
Oh, yeah.
And Guidara actually went out and got one for him.
I love that story.
It's such a simple gesture, but it speaks volumes about their commitment to exceeding expectations.
Absolutely. And, these legends weren't just random acts of kindness. Right. They were a deliberate part of the EMP experience. They were designed to surprise and delight guests. They even had a dream weaver on staff.
A dream weaver? What is that?
A dream weaver. Her name was Christine McGrath.
Okay.
And her sole job was to brainstorm and execute these extraordinary gestures.
So they had a dedicated magic maker.
Yes, a magic maker.
That's incredible. And I imagine these legends not only delighted the guests, but they also energized the staff.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
It gave the staff a sense of ownership and pride, a feeling that they were a part of something truly special.
Yeah.
And this culture of generosity and care was especially important when they faced challenges.
Okay.
Like during the financial crisis of 2008.
Oh, wow.
They became incredibly resourceful and disciplined, finding creative ways to save money without compromising the guest experience.
And there's that inspiring story about the Deep Breathing Club, or DBC.
Oh, yeah.
Tell us more about that.
So a friend of Guidara's named Andrew Tepper, who worked at a psychiatric hospital, introduced them to this simple technique of taking a few deep breaths to manage stress.
Okay.
And it became a ritual at EMP.
Interesting.
A way for the staff to support each other and stay grounded amidst the chaos of a busy service.
They even had a secret signal, right? Touching their lapels.
Yes, touching their lapels to indicate when someone needed a moment to regroup.
It's such a beautiful example of how even these small gestures can create a culture of care and support.
Yeah.
And it's clear that this shared sense of purpose, this unwavering belief in each other, is what ultimately propelled them to achieve their ultimate goal, the #1 spot on the world's 50 best restaurants list.
Talk about a triumphant moment.
Wow, what a journey.
It was the culmination of years of hard work, dedication, and of course, unreasonable hospitality.
But as we'll see in the final part of our deep dive, reaching the top presented its own set of challenges and opportunities for growth. Reaching the top, what an accomplishment, but as we know from Will Guidara's book, the journey didn't stop there.
Absolutely. Reaching the top is one thing.
Yeah.
But then it becomes, okay, what's next?
Right.
How do you maintain that momentum? How do you avoid becoming complacent?
Yeah.
And I think for Guidara, it was about continuing to evolve and push the boundaries of hospitality.
And that led them to the Nomad Hotel.
Right.
This wasn't just about expanding their restaurant empire.
Yeah.
It was about creating a completely immersive hospitality experience.
Exactly. The Nomad was a chance to really apply the principles of unreasonable hospitality on a grander scale.
And they meticulously designed every detail of the hotel.
Right.
From the architecture and the decor to the staff training and the guest interactions to create this world of warmth and sophistication and genuine care.
It was all about the details.
Guidara mentions using a fictional character as inspiration for the design.
Yeah.
This hedonistic 53-year-old gourmand and music lover.
I love that. I love that approach.
It's like they built this world around this imaginary guest
Right.
so that they could anticipate his needs and desires
Yeah.
and ensure this truly personalized experience.
Yeah. It's a brilliant example of how storytelling can inform and elevate the creative process.
Totally. By stepping into the shoes of that character,
Yeah.
they could really think about what would make him happy.
Exactly. But it wasn't just about replicating the success of 11 Madison Park.
Right.
The Nomad provided this unique opportunity
Yeah.
to evolve their culture and their leadership style.
Yes.
And Guidara shares a really interesting story about a disgruntled employee named Cheryl
Oh, yeah.
who challenged his approach.
Yeah. And that story's so insightful.
Yeah.
You know, Cheryl's criticism really forced Guidara to confront his own blind spots.
Interesting.
You know, he realized that he had become a little too attached to his own vision
Okay.
and wasn't fully empowering his team.
Yeah.
It's a reminder that even the most successful leaders
Yeah,
need to be open to feedback
Yeah.
and willing to adapt.
absolutely. True leadership is about trusting your team, fostering collaboration, and creating opportunities for growth.
And that's exactly what Guidara did.
Yeah.
He promoted Kirk Kellaway, who had started as a kitchen server, to the role of general manager at 11 Madison Park.
That's amazing.
What a testament to their belief in nurturing talent from within.
Yeah.
And that commitment to empowering the staff was evident throughout the Nomad.
Right.
I remember that story about the magic trick with the signed card.
Oh, yeah, that's a great story.
It's such a fantastic example of how they infused surprise and delight into even the simplest interactions.
Yeah, and it wasn't just a gimmick.
Right.
It was a carefully orchestrated experience
Yeah.
made possible by the collaboration of the whole team.
It's remarkable how they maintained that level of creativity and attention to detail
Yeah.
while also expanding their operations so significantly.
It really speaks volumes about the strength of their culture
Yeah.
and their commitment to unreasonable hospitality.
And even as they grew,
Right.
they continued to evolve and refine their approach.
Absolutely.
At 11 Madison Park, they eventually shifted away from that hyper-local New York menu
Right.
and return to a simpler, more guest-centric approach, even going back to having no menu at all.
Full circle.
Full circle. It's interesting how they rediscovered the power of that personalized dialogue between the server and the guest.
Exactly. It shows a willingness to adapt and experiment, to constantly seek new ways to enhance the guest experience.
Yeah.
And that ultimately is what Unreasonable Hospitality is all about.
Yes.
It's not about a set of rules.
Right.
It's a mindset. It's a way of approaching the world with generosity, intentionality, and a genuine desire to create those meaningful connections.
It's been an amazing journey exploring this book with you.
Oh, yeah. It's a great book.
We've covered so much ground, from the distinction between service and hospitality to the power of creating those unforgettable experiences. A link to the full book can be found in the description or pinned comment.
Be sure to check it out.
Any final thoughts you want to leave our listeners with?
Well, I think the key takeaway is that unreasonable hospitality is not limited to the world of restaurants or hotels. It's a philosophy that can be applied to any business, any interaction. It's about putting people first, anticipating their needs, and going the extra mile to make them feel valued and appreciated.
Beautifully said. And as Guidara reminds us, giving more is addictive. Once you experience the joy of making someone's day, of creating that spark of connection, you'll want to do it again and again. So what's one small, unreasonable act of hospitality you can implement this week? A link to the full book can be found in the description or pinned comment. It doesn't have to be grand. It's about the thoughtfulness and intention behind it. Thanks for joining us on this deep dive.